Well, hi.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Facebook Friday Live with Carrie and Rip. We are just shooting the kale.
Shooting the kale. And if you don't know who I am, which you probably don't, nor should you, but you will, I am Rip's podcast producer and have been for about 5 years now. So, all of the guests that come our way, we vet them, we pre-interview them in many ways. We do all of our homework, all of our research so that we are constantly bringing you both the best information and the entertainment. So that's my primary role. That and just saying, what do you want to do today, Rip?
You guys know, Carrie, you've been on enough of the shows.
Yeah.
But let us know where you're tuning in from. Hello, Lori G from Northern California.
Anne Marie, there's my friend. Yeah, we're Facebook pals.
All right. And then we have movie girl, Beth. Beth, I would love to know, what movie do you recommend that I see?
Oh,
I definitely enjoy going to a good movie.
Oh, wow.
So today, Carrie, do you know what today is?
Today's December 1st.
Today's December 1st.
Yes.
So my question to you is, did you wake up this morning and did you say rabbit, rabbit?
I didn't. I said, why am I up so early? No,
So that's a thing.
I didn't. I've heard that.
That's a thing in our house. It's actually ever since I was a little kid, my mom would say, okay, tomorrow is the first of the month and you want to say rabbit, rabbit. It will help ensure that you have good luck throughout the month.
I do have friends that do that. And I mean, I assume that that's what it was for, but no, it's never been it will now, thanks to the guilty complex that I have. So now January 1st, I will wake up rabbit, rabbit.
You know what? Just toss in the chat. Let us know if you said rabbit, rabbit today.
Oh, looks like Anne Marie did.
Oh, yes. Anne Marie certainly did.
Yeah.
And it's funny, maybe we should start a new tradition. Instead of rabbit, rabbit, it should be kale, kale.
Kale, kale. That I can get behind. Kale, kale. I did wake up and so I went for a run this morning because I skipped it yesterday because it was raining here in Austin and I'm very fair weather right now when it comes to my running. And so it was a gorgeous morning. So I went for my run and I came back and stopped off at Whole Foods and actually had a salad for breakfast, which is something I never do. I'm an oatmeal girl.
So you went to the salad bar?
Mm-hmm.
And what did that salad consist of?
About 15 pounds of food. Almost. It's actually also going to be
probably
dinner.
Over $25.
Oh, without question. Yeah. No, we are volume people. Are we not? Plant-based friends. We are volume people. Unfortunately, that means our food weighs a lot sometimes, but yeah, I had like some spinach. I put a little bit of kale. I put, just the regular, romaine. I had shredded carrots, shredded beets, black beans, a little bit of tofu, and some chickpeas. So that was breakfast. And quinoa.
Did you have a dressing?
No. I'm a lot of the stuff there I'm not crazy about because not all of it is oil free. But no, I'm super happy with just a naked salad.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
So
so good. Movie girl's letting us know that she's going to check out The Holdovers and Napoleon and get back to us.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I need Home Alone style of humor right now in my life. So if there's any funny comedies coming up, let me know.
Ellen wants to know if there's any plans to do a reboot on Team Plan Strong for the new year.
Ellen, I have seen your comments in the Facebook group.
Ellen, we've been talking about this for the last 15 minutes.
And for the last 3 months. There will be, there's going to be a reboot of Team Plant Strong in Austin.
A modified reboot.
Yes. We are absolutely going to be inviting people to come to the Austin Marathon to run either the 5K, the half marathon, or the full marathon. We will have discount codes coming. You will be able to get a Team Plant Strong shirt, and we will get together as a group to celebrate those who can come to Austin or potentially even do it virtually. So yes, I know we're a little bit behind, but they've been rocking and rolling with the Thanksgiving, which I know we're going to talk about. I mean, you were doing the holiday webinars and things like that. And that's certainly.
Yeah, but we're talking about for those that want to come to Austin, we'll probably do a catered, because people will be coming from out of town, a catered potluck at my old home. It's new. It's now the Plant Strong World headquarters that is literally a mile from downtown Austin. So we'll either do that, or if the weather is not nice, we'll just do something like we did last year at Casa de Luz.
Yes.
We'll just all meet there and we'll collect.
Yes.
And then obviously we'll gather before and after the race, and we'll be sporting our Plant Strong regalia.
Yeah, it's forcing me to like think about training again. So I'm excited about it. I'm actually excited about it.
What did you do last year? What distance?
I did the half marathon. And I'd have to look up my time. I don't remember it at all, but I remember my goal last year in Austin was to start almost in the very back of the half marathon, because I wanted to see how many of our Team Plant Strong t-shirts I could see as I was running by them, and then take photos and videos of people in action. So I was kind of the person who was like chasing all of the rabbits to get photos. And that's a hard way to run a race, by the way. Yeah.
So let's dive in. We have some different topics that we want to chew on today.
Yes, right? We do. Oh, by the way, Eric Foreman chewed on some vegetables, sweet potatoes, and a salad for breakfast. Wow. I don't intermittent fast. I don't intermittent fast. Yeah. I am a menopausal woman and I need to eat.
I am an active individual. I don't know if I think I've told you, I've never fasted a day in my life, and I don't think I've ever intermittent fasted either.
Yeah.
Unless I was on an airplane and, I wasn't able to eat for 12 hours.
Yeah, no, intermittent fasting, it's, I feel like there could be some benefits of it, where I think, and I've been hearing a lot of this, and anecdotally it makes sense to me. I'm certainly not a researcher or a scientist, but what makes sense to me is that if you're going to do a fast, for me, I enjoy making my biggest meal of the day breakfast, and even lunch. And then I sort of taper off at dinner time. So I don't go to bed with a big, stomach full of food. And then, my husband and I kind of shut it down at like 7. That's we're usually done by dinner by 7. And then when I eat breakfast the next morning at 7 at a normal time, it basically is an intermittent fast. That was a 12-hour window with no food. And I wake up hungry.
Well, let's talk about the reverse of fasting. Let's talk about feasting.
Yes.
So let's talk about what we feasted on for Thanksgiving. And so I'd love to share what we did at the Esselstyn household, because all of the Esselstyns, my 2 brothers, my sister, and all of their children, we all descended upon my parents, Ann and Essie's house in Cleveland, Ohio. We went out to a little place that we have out in the country called the Knob, that for those of you that saw Forks Over Knives, it was the last scene of Forks Over Knives, where they're out in the woods and then they're sitting around a Lazy Susan table. That's where we had Thanksgiving. There were about 45 of us, between all the Esselstyns and then some cousins and then some friends. And we had I thought a rather remarkable Thanksgiving feast. I can tell you, I'm looking at a post right here of everything that we had. So we had vegan focaccia. We had whole grain bread and jam. We had a mushroom bourguignon gum.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's some sort of a mushroom casserole dish. We had homegrown spices, cayenne, jalapeno, habanero.
Homegrown
ones.
Wow.
We obviously had mashed potatoes with mommy's mushroom gravy. We had a stuffing, Brian stuffing. We had a vegetable stew. We had savory baked tofu. We had a sweet potato hash. We had cranberry homemade salsa, buffalo cauliflower. We had 2 tofurkeys that were bought at the store. Yeah. We had a vegan borscht, which is a beet soup. And then, of course, we had all kinds of pies. We had a chocolate ice box pie. I made 2 pumpkin pies from scratch. They were incredible. And one of my he's like my what is my first cousin's parent?
Your great uncle? He'd be your uncle.
I guess he's an uncle. He's an uncle.
He'd be your uncle.
One of my uncles actually brought a turkey. And that actually had to reside on another table.
There's always that guy. There's always that guy.
Yeah. So there was a turkey there, and it was hard. It was hard intermixing with a turkey.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving feast. But
fortunately, my Thanksgiving dinner was much more low key than that. I mean, yours obviously is Instagram post worthy since Jane posted that. Mine was just my husband and myself, and my mother-in-law drove up from San Antonio. She's 82 and she's a very robust, very healthy 82-year-old, but relatively new to eating almost exclusively whole food plant-based. She's always, she's never afraid of a vegetable. She always cooks very healthy, but this is the first year that we went completely plant-based. And it's so funny because now she's sending me books and quotes and research from Dr. Greger and all this stuff. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you. I know,
well,
but
let her have her moment.
No, it's so exciting. It's so exciting to see that at the age of 82, she was showing us some different tests that she had gotten from her doctors with some different numbers that look favorable. And so I just love that it just reinforces that it doesn't matter what age, you can be enthusiastic. Our dinner, she brought up a cauliflower and potato soup. She made the pumpkin pie from the Plant Strong Holiday guide that we had. My husband and I made a chickpea loaf, and we found that actually on Shane and Simple. We've made the Plant Strong lentil loaf the last couple of years, and I was just like, I want something a little different. And
one of the things that we have done when we make that lentil loaf, lentil oat loaf, is we have been adding a cup of walnuts to it, and it completely changes the whole texture, flavor profile, consistency. It's really that much more wonderful.
Yeah, and that's how I felt about the chickpea loaf, because it was light. It had like flax and some breadcrumbs. You could certainly add lentils to it. You could add tofu to it. I mean, it was very malleable, and it was so tasty. We did a quinoa salad with beans. We had steamed green beans, and I made the lemon tahini dressing from Plant-Based Woman Warrior. We had edamame hummus, which was delicious. So suffice to say, the three of us did not go hungry for days.
Who did most of the cooking?
I would say that I probably did most of the cooking, although my mother-in-law.
Do you like to cook?
I do now. I never used to. Yeah, I never.
What do you think created that change in your mentality?
It's such a good question. I think it is it's curiosity, because I feel like with what we have to offer with the plant-based world, like you can just be curious and experiment. I get excited when I make something that tastes actually good, which doesn't always happen. And it's just a new kind of phase in life that I'm in too, where when I'm away from the grind of work, I want to think creatively, and this allows me to think a little bit more creative.
It's kind of a nice way to unwind.
It is. Yeah. I put on some tunes, and
you're doing something productive. You know exactly what's in the food you're eating. You know, it's like incredibly healthy.
Yeah. And I feel like cooking puts you at a pace in life that we're supposed to be at.
I like that.
It just slows everything down, because you're at the mercy of how long it's going to take.
Well, do you know who else slowed things down for Thanksgiving? Was Kourtney Kardashian.
I mean,
Did you hear that?
Well, I think it's funny that the boomer over here has to tell me about Kourtney Kardashian.
Well, can we talk for a sec? So I guess you're right. I am a baby boomer, born in 63.
And I'm a Gen X, born in 73.
Okay, because, geez. So I think it's 66 or 67 was the cutoff for baby boomers.
Yeah.
And then, so you're a generation, what are you, a
Gen X.
Gen X. So why did it go from baby boomer to Generation X?
Anybody have that answer? I have no idea.
And then is there a Generation Y?
There really isn't. I don't think
millennials.
There went, instead of Generation Y, it went to millennial, Gen Z, and now I'm hearing that we have started the generation cycle over again with alphas. So I'm understanding if my unresearched ears, because I've been hearing people talk about the new generation called Alpha. Marley is also Gen X. What's up, 80s, the 1980s and the 1990s? That's my jam.
Marla's a Generation X.
There is Gen Z.
X. I didn't know there was a quadruple X.
Wow, Marley. Anything else you want to share?
That's exciting.
Yeah. And my husband is like right on the cusp of boomer. So whenever I call him boomer, he can't say anything back to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Ellen, I've also heard us called baby busters.
That's
Eddie, 1964 was the end for the boomers. Oh, thank you.
Nice.
For that little tidbit.
Well,
obviously we have not researched our generations.
No, but the Kardashians, the most famous family in the world for who knows what. No one knows.
Well, something to do with Bruce Jenner, I think. And that show that they had.
Right. Back in the day.
But we were, I heard it's kind of newsworthy, I guess, that Kourtney Kardashian was throwing a vegan Thanksgiving dinner for her husband, Travis Barker. And who is he exactly?
He is the drummer for the band Blink-182.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's fully tatted. Yeah. Like head to toe, fully tatted.
So obviously they're a thing. And for his Thanksgiving, which I think also falls on his birthday.
Yeah.
She decided to throw him a vegan Thanksgiving. Does that mean that he's vegan and she's not?
I mean, I'm hoping that they both are. And you've got, were you invited? Because you've got the menu right on your
I do have
screen.
The menu. I'm going to share the menu with you. But here's something. So I've never ever in my life looked at Kourtney Kardashian's Instagram channel, but I looked at it literally 10 minutes ago and I said, Carrie, guess how many followers she has? She's got like 240 million followers. That's like 3/4 of the size of this country.
I know. And if she if she could influence 1% of her followers to follow a plant-based diet, I consider that a victory.
Well, exactly.
Who knows what she'll be selling tomorrow, but
let's talk about their dinner, because actually it looks pretty delicious. They had a pumpkin bread, and it also had blood beets with blood beets vegan butter. Do you want to say the next one?
Let's see. We've got a turkey seitan Thanksgiving roast with sage gravy and herbs.
And then we had a roasted Brussels sprouts. That got good taste so far.
Yeah.
With a maple balsamic glaze and cranberries.
Sweet potato casserole with something. Cinnamon crumbles, I believe. Oh, that sounds crumbles. Sweet potato casserole with oat cinnamon crumbles. That sounds delicious.
Then they had corn ribs on the cob.
And roasted purple sweet potatoes.
And mashed potatoes.
Roasted acorn squash.
With a pumpkin seed and something glazed.
I know, it's hard to read. It's a little blurry.
A green bean casserole with caramelized onions and mushrooms.
A sweet corn casserole.
Gluten-free stuffing with vegan sausage and apples.
Cornbread stuffing with vegan sausage and cranberries. Yep.
And then vegan mac and cheese. And then they topped it all off with
a vegan pumpkin pie.
With vegan whipped cream.
That sounds...
I wonder if it was just the two of them.
I don't know if you've looked at either of them, and perhaps there's a lot of surgical intervention in their physiques, but they both look pretty pretty fit, pretty trim.
Well, and as Kara says, and she cooked it all herself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody posted up here, and this is something that maybe we can touch on, is that a couple of other people here had to make two different separate meals. It looks like Rhonda posted to Marley that she had to cook two separate meals for the non-plant-based. Curious to know how that went. I know when I go home to Ohio, which I will be doing in a couple of weeks, I saw Columbus, Ohio up that somebody posted, and that's where I'll be in a couple of weeks. We very much have to make our own meals, which is completely fine. Because my mom is very traditional Italian. She makes homemade spaghetti, homemade ravioli, but the pasta all has eggs. The stuffing for the ravioli is spinach, ricotta, and meat. So we actually try to just make our own, and it's amazing how popular it is. But it's also funny when people say, "You still doing that? You still doing that healthy thing?" And 15 years later, I'm still doing it, Rip. I'm still doing it. Yeah.
Still doing that little experiment.
Yeah. And it still seems to be working.
So there was a study that recently came out. It actually involved, it was a survey that went out. It involved 7,500 people in 10 countries. And it was a plant-based advocacy group called ProVeg, Ghent University and the University of Copenhagen. They conducted this survey, and they found out, I think not surprisingly, that more than half of Europeans are cutting down on their meat consumption, which is obviously very exciting. I feel like Europeans generally tend to be a little bit more ahead of the curve when it comes to Americans. I think Americans feel they have this God-given right to eat whatever they want, and everybody else be damned.
It's our DNA, it's what makes us proud Americans in many ways, which is this this independent spirit. And it's what makes me very proud to be an American many days. But yeah, you're right. It also can damage us.
But I think it was interesting to look at, so why in this survey, why people were cutting down on their meat. And why don't you go first here?
Yeah. So 29%, and this is what the study showed, of 7,500 people in 10 European countries, 29% of respondents indicated that animal welfare was their primary reason.
Which is absolutely...
That's phenomenal.
I think it just goes to show... for whatever reason, certain people, I think, have maybe, I don't know if this is correct, but a deeper level of compassion when it comes to looking at other animals that we share the planet with, and that they're sentient creatures and in many ways deserve the same rights and opportunities that we do.
Absolutely. And I know that, when we were coming up, there was no real outlet to see those horrific images of animals that we see being carted away or being abused or whatever. Those were hidden from us with various laws, and the organizations like PETA that did try to promote that and animal welfare were just considered crazy. They were the crazy people. But one of the things with social media, I feel like they have opened the door to people showing some of these images, and they're not, no one wants to see them, but they're important to see. And the fact that almost a third of the respondents cited animal welfare as their primary reason for eating less meat, to me, is phenomenal. And I think that will grow. 15 years ago, it wasn't even in my thought. Right. Mine was just selfish. Me, health, high cholesterol, which is a very important reason. But now I can say, and I've heard others say this as well, who've been in the space for a long time. And I know you feel this way too. It's like the longer I'm in it, the less it is about me, and the more it is, the more it is about animals and the climate, which was another huge factor.
Absolutely. But before we go on to climate, I just want to say, like, you look at certain individuals like Joaquin Phoenix, where this really is something that is incredibly important to him. And he even used the stage when he won his Oscar at the Academy Awards to basically talk about how much it meant to him. You look at people like Moby, right, that we had on the Plant Strong podcast, and he says this is his job in life, is to try and have a voice for these animals that don't have a voice. And you see he's got lots of tattoos as well. And all along either his right or his left arm, it says, animal rights. And, he's not messing around.
No, and we can't, we can't. And I also encourage people that and these are, when I talk to friends and loved ones of mine who are trying to incorporate more vegetables, and they say that they don't want to look at those images. You don't have to. Instead, you can look at follow a lot of the animal sanctuaries in the world. There you will see the most beautiful images of these animals who are loving and kind and dance and sing and coo. So a very quick story on that. Over the summer, I was in Bend, Oregon, and I volunteer when I'm there. I volunteer at an animal sanctuary called Harmony Farm Sanctuary. And I had a girlfriend visiting for the week, and it was on my volunteer day, and she said that she wanted to come. And so we went, and it impacted her so much. She's really trying to completely change her diet. I think kind of eggs are her holdout at this point, but she's now started volunteering at the Austin Farm Sanctuary, which is about an hour outside of town. But she has now made it her priority to come back and service the animals here.
And then 26%. Were most concerned by meat's environmental impact, which actually is surprising to me. I would have thought that the environment and what we know about the amount of global greenhouse gas emissions that are created from animal agriculture and the production of meat, I would have thought it would have been higher, especially over in Europe. But 26%. That's what the study found.
I still, if I was to hypothesize, I still think that there's a disconnect between animal agriculture and climate. Like greenhouse gases, the blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know how much that has permeated the mainstream culture. I think we all certainly are aware of it to a certain extent, but if somebody engaged me in a conversation and said, could you tell me why? I'm not sure I would actually be able to speak super intelligently about it. So it's something that I need to kind of brush up on. But I do think these generations, this Gen Z and this alpha generation that are coming up, it is going to be their talking point, because this is what we're leaving them. I mean, this is what they have to fix.
In kind of piggyback on that, recently the World Health Organization came out and basically was recommending that we do our best in this country, obviously all over the world, but to stop eating meat because of what it does to the environment and the environmental impacts. And guess which news organization was the only one to basically mention it? This was like 2 days ago. Out of CNN, out of MSNBC, out of Fox, all these. Which do you think?
That mentioned it as a recommendation?
That mentioned it.
I would venture a guess to say either MSNBC or CNN.
No, the only one that mentioned it was Fox.
Oh.
And they did it saying, how dare they try and tell
That's-
us what to eat?
Yeah. Well, yes, I was going to say, I know those news organizations that probably didn't say it, but yeah, of course they said it in a mocking way. But I mean, get your news where you need to get your news, where you feel comfortable, but understand that wherever we're getting some of this stuff, like we have to filter any piece of news we get through like a critical lens, right?
And then lastly, 47% of people polled basically said that they were eating less meat for health reasons. Which, hey, it's all about number uno, me, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And my health. I can appreciate that.
I do too. I mean, it was, as I said before, it was my, and
then look at the spillover, right?
Yeah.
Into everything, the environment, the animals.
I just think it has changed me from the inside out. I jokingly say that if studies came out tomorrow that said eating a plant-based whole food diet is not good for you, I would just say, great, so be it. I'm sticking with it for the other reasons. It has just, and I feel like we're all in this together. Those of you that are watching now and or later, like it changes you molecularly from the inside out. And if I could just expound on that, even as a podcast producer perspective, you're seeing these numbers: 30% for animals, 26% for environment, 47% for health. We think about that when we are looking at getting different guests on, because we all love the doctors. Oh, I mean, Essie, for crying out loud, like we could have Essie on every week and our numbers would be huge. We
Dr. Clapper, Dr. McDougall,
love Gregor.
Gregor.
Yeah. And they're so good and they're so polished and their information is so on point. But we do make a concerted effort to really find, information and experts on the climate issue and the animal rights issue. And even though they might not resonate with everyone, I think it's still so important for us to hit every angle, because you never know what somebody's entry point is going to be. And so I know sometimes we have people on who've done cookbooks, like some of these younger up and coming authors and social media stars. And, they might have a cookbook where it has a little bit of oil in it or whatever. And, understand that like their entry point might be climate or animal welfare, and we will never stray from be as oil free. You will never stray from that message, but it's important for you, I think, to get these other perspectives.
Yeah, always. So when was the last time you were out in LA?
I was out in LA last summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you're out in LA in the summertime,
mm-hmm.
Are you frequenting any of these vegan restaurants that are somewhat in abundance there?
Yeah. Last summer we went to, and I'm actually going next week too, for my Gen Xers. Have you ever heard of Debbie Gibson, the pop singer from the 1980s? Absolutely. I'm flying to LA to see her next week.
Right there with Richard Marx.
She is. Yes, she is. She is not plant-based, although she should be, because she's a huge animal advocate. But we ate at a restaurant called Sage when we were there the last time. We ate at, it was a plant-based burger company that unfortunately isn't around anymore. And then I wrote down that my favorite restaurant that we ate at was a vegan Italian restaurant called Pura Vida in West Hollywood. It was delicious.
When did you eat there?
Last summer.
So right across from there is Woody Harrelson's hash or marijuana place where you can go and find a little room and get high until you're. We
didn't go to that.
Yeah. But I went to Pura Vida probably about 6-7 months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In the West Hollywood, same one?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah. She's actually writing a cookbook right now. It's coming out in not too long.
Unfortunately, we were so, I was in such a rush to get to this concert. We were running behind that she was there and she came to the table and said hello. She didn't know that I worked for you or anything, but like, I could have engaged her for hours, but I was one track mind. Debbie Gibson. Got to see Debbie Gibson.
Yeah.
Got to get.
Have you ever been to Crossroads?
No, I haven't. I know it's a little bougie, kind of fancy.
Tal Ronan, I think, is the owner and head chef there, and he does a nice job. I mean, obviously it's not oil free,
Yeah,
and as clean as maybe we would like it, but Crossroads is definitely very, very famous there. But there's going to be a new place that's going to be opening up, I think, in the beginning of 2024.
Oh, okay, so
and it's a restaurant that Billie Eilish and her producing brother Phineas is going to be opening up. It's a vegan restaurant.
Yeah.
I don't know if you all know this, but they have grown up, the Eilishes, as vegans since birth.
Yeah.
Much like how my kids have. And I so love that about Billie and any kind of influence that she can have in getting more people to go plant-based. It's going to be opening up in Silver Lake. It's going to be a Italian restaurant. Love Italian.
Yes.
And it's going to be called Agento. And this location was previously owned by Moby, and his restaurant was the Little Pine. And it's going to have a chef's table, and supposedly it's going to have a expanded outdoor patio as well. And the next time I'm out there, I'll check it out.
Too bad it's not going to be open next week. I would be there. Does anybody else in the chat have any awesome plant-based restaurants? It doesn't have to be LA that you have frequented that every time you go, it's a mainstay. There's a restaurant in Columbus, Ohio, and it's the particular restaurant that I'm about to mention is not strictly vegan, but they have what they call their North Star burger. It's called North Star Cafe for my Ohioans, and they have their like signature burger is a vegan burger, and it's brown rice, beets, black beans. The texture is so meaty. The second we get off the plane, without question, that's where we have to go. Yeah. And
What's the name?
It's called North Star Cafe.
Okay.
But it's the restaurant itself is not strictly plant-based, but their signature meal is. You can make it completely vegan with the bun and everything else.
If any of you come to Austin, you'll have to go to Casa de Luz, House of Light. It's off Toomey Drive. And it is the cleanest whole food plant-based food that you will ever get out to eat, ever.
Yeah.
And it's got quite the ambiance.
It's hilarious because they don't really have a menu that you choose from. You show up and they're like, this. You go to their website every day and they're like, this is what we're serving today. And there's always a salad. There's always soup choices.
There's always a grain.
Yeah.
There's always a bean. It's kind of a macrobiotic philosophy, but they have about maybe 8 years ago, they pulled out all the oil that they were adding to their dishes.
Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that they even ever did. Yeah. But you go there and it's like going to a little meditation retreat for your meal, because everybody's very quiet. Everybody's you're there. Except when the Team Plant Strong shows up.
No. It's cool. But anyway, congrats to Billie.
Rut in Spokane, Washington. All right. That's one.
Never heard of that.
Did Kevin Hart open up some places? I see Wonderlist.
But I think it's like some burger joints.
I think so. Mistaken. And
I have a feeling that they're not very high on the podium when it comes to being healthy.
Right. Well, sort of like our friend Pinky Cole from the Slutty Vegan, she's still she's tearing it up, and she's doing great work. Not the healthiest, but I bet it's good. I've never had it, but I bet it's good.
So speaking of healthy and good, I do want to give a little shout out and a plug to our Plant Strong food line. We just got, after a very, very rigorous review process, we just got approval for every one of our Plant Strong food products, from our pizza crust kits to our chilies and stews, to our pancakes and waffles, that these basically qualify as food as medicine. And they now have HSA, which is a health spending account, and a flexible savings account. HSA and FSA basically approval to be, you can use these dollars and get reimbursed up to 40%. So
That's huge.
It's huge. And it's just a testament to how clean and healthy our food line is, that it was able to qualify and meet these rigorous standards.
And because I'm not necessarily on that side of Rip's biz, but was it like a several months process? And like, did you have to submit foods and stuff for them to go through, or the nutrition labels?
All that. I was not spearheading that effort. That was Lori, and Lori did a phenomenal job with that, but it definitely was several months and a lot of back and forth. And
I know some other companies now are looking to Plant Strong to figure out, how did you do that? How did you get that done? Which is great. As Lori mentioned to us prior to us going live, if you go to plantstrongfoods.com and you scroll down at the bottom, you can learn more information about how to use those HSA and FSA cards that you have and those dollars that you have. Go to
the bottom of the
plantstrongfoods.com. Or I know you can, if you go to a specific food that you want to buy and click on, like if it's the pancakes or whatever, if you click on that, there is a little thing where with the description of the food that says use your HSA FSA dollars, and it tells you how. It walks you through that process. So at EV, they are the best medicine. I eat all the products with all my fresh produce. Rip has seen me open the pack of his chilies and just eat it cold right out of the box. Why waste a minute of time?
Yeah. So what you got going on this weekend? Anything exciting?
Potentially, yes. I may be pacing a friend of mine at the San Antonio half marathon on Sunday. So she's a running buddy of mine, and she signed up for it. I've actually yet to sign up for it, and I'm not sure what I'm waiting. Actually, I went to register yesterday, and online registration is closed, but it said you can register at the expo. So I have to drive to San Antonio, register in person, and either drive back to Austin or just stay in San Antonio. So we'll see.
Well, you're a good friend.
I love it, but I shouldn't even bring this up, but I will. I went to their website, and it's a rock and roll marathon. So rock and roll, they have like different races around the world.
Do they blast music?
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of their shtick. It's actually rock and roll and Iron Man are owned by the same company now. Totally off topic. But I noticed that one of the presenting sponsors of the San Antonio Rock and Roll Marathon is a beef sponsor. And I was like, it almost made me go, I'll sit this one out. But it's also an opportunity for me to wear my Team Plant Strong shirt. Yeah. And make a statement, as I like to do.
Hey, Steve Cook. I look much taller on the screen. Well, that's because I'm sitting next to Carrie.
I am 5'1" on a tall day.
Steve, how's life in Columbus? It's my buddy from Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, there's lots of Midwesterners here. I love it.
Yeah. So I think my wife and son are going out of town. So it's gonna be me and my two daughters. So I think we're gonna. And this is why I was asking about movies. I think we're going to catch a movie this weekend.
Fun. Yeah.
We're going to go to the Alamo Drafthouse. If you don't know about that, these are movie theaters where you actually can sit in your chairs and you get served dinner. And just so you know, they have this quinoa sweet potato bowl that is lights out good, completely like Plant Strong approved. And then I also get a cheeseless roasted mushroom and onion pizza without cheese, which is the marinara sauce, and that's my dinner.
Oh, you lost me at fungi. You lost me.
Yeah, and then of course there'll be pickleball, there'll be ping pong, there'll be some yard work that will be involved.
Okay.
I want to get those girls working in the yard, and we'll be making pancakes.
Wow.
Saturday and Sunday morning, they've both requested pancakes. Their favorite is the home style, gluten free. Not because we're gluten free.
Yeah.
They just love the way they rise and the taste of those. And yeah,
that actually may be my dinner tomorrow night before the race. Is a good old smattering of pancakes or sheet pan pancakes.
When you do just normal pancakes, tell me, like, what's your ideal pancake? What do you have in it? What do you have on it?
I'm so plain. Like, honestly, I will just put a little bit of peanut butter. And I'm not even big on maple syrup. I'll put it on there, but I'm like just peanut butter and a little bit of banana. Yeah, that's it. But I could eat those two things every day, all day. Peanut butter, banana.
So I slice banana, put it into the batter.
Okay.
Same with dark chocolate chips. Right? Those two things, and then I eat them like cookies. I don't put maple syrup or anything on them. I'll just pick it up. I do it one at a time and eat it like a cookie.
That sounds so good. Sounds so good.
And you see some of these waffles that I make.
Oh yeah.
Out of this Stuffler waffle maker. I mean, the thing's like this thick.
My God. If we have blueberries, I'll throw some blueberries in there. Or what I'll do is I'll heat up a little bowl of frozen blueberries to where it looks like almost like a compote, like a sauce, and I'll drizzle that on top of it.
Have you ever been to Kirby Lane?
Oh, have I ever? Yeah.
I mean, yeah. You don't ever get their pancakes that have like strawberries and walnuts or pecans in them?
Every time I go to Kirby Lane,
gingerbread pancakes, I
usually just get their vegan breakfast scramble, which is a tofu scramble, but they also have a side of their vegan pancakes too. So I look at their menu and they've got vegan queso. They have several options, but I always default to their vegan breakfast.
Yeah. I guess I just don't understand why. Anyway, I love putting stuff in my pancakes while it's cooking. There's something about when you soften up the banana, when you soften up the chocolate chips, when you soften up the strawberries, the blueberries, whatever it is you put in there, it just makes it that much more delectable.
Yeah,
I find
food is love. And I feel like what's so cool with your family is that you really show love to your kids, especially on those weekend breakfasts. You really do. Like, you guys, but
is food love for you?
It is. It is. I mean, again, growing up in a very Italian household, food is everything for the Italians. And, any of you who come from any kind of, ethnic parent or background, it is the way food is shown, and it's offensive if you don't eat it or if you don't partake. It's a curve you have to get around.
I have a question for you, and I have a question for everybody out there listening. What is your attitude when it comes to cleaning your plate? Like, are you part of the clean plate club, or do you just eat until you kind of feel like you've had enough and then you stop?
I'm a clean plater. Yeah,
I am too.
Yeah, I'm a clean plater.
And it is so wild how I just have not gotten to the point to where I could leave a quarter of the plate.
Yeah,
and my appetite is so, I guess you could say, adaptable or flexible. That if I even took too much, I'm like, well, okay, I can handle it. It's like I don't have a stopping point.
I know. What is the Japanese saying that's like eat until you're 80% full. I'm like 180% full, and I'm like, well, I guess I should stop now. Edie is a clean plater. Paul is a clean plater. But here's the other thing that Addie is yes. Here's the thing that does drive my husband nuts is that I'm definitely at mealtime a clean plater, but if I'm doing a snack or something, I will only eat a portion of whatever it is and I'll put it back in the fridge. And so he opens the fridge and there's just half eaten anything. Like if I do like a little snack bar or whatever, I'll just take a bite of it and I'll put it back in the fridge. A block of tofu, I will just take a little fork of it and put it back in the fridge. So he opens it up and he's like, why everything is just like half eaten in here. So I do have self-control. It's like certainly throughout the day. And that is a learned behavior, by the way. Like, you know, my background is like, I was not healthy or fit and I was way overweight at one point. And so that is a learned behavior for me to develop the discipline and the self-control to like take a bite, put it back. But at mealtime, I'm all in. I'm all in. Yeah.
Well, you know what? This has been great chewing the kale with you.
It has been fun.
Our time is up.
Yeah.
But I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us for this Facebook Friday Live, where we were just throwing out some topics that we thought were fun and interesting. Hope they resonated with you all.
Oh yeah, I love seeing this side of Rip, as I'm sure you do too. I mean, it's just you're such a your personality online and everything that you put out there is so authentic that it's scary because I'm waiting for like the other Rip to come out, like the Rip to come out, and I'm like, it doesn't exist. And so I love like what you see truly is what you get, which is a joy for all of us who are in the Esselstyn family by proxy. For sure. Well, thank you, Anne-Marie, for the good luck. Now I have to run it. Dang it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining me and being part of all this.
Normally I'm behind the scenes monitoring the cameras, or my internet is, crapping out, which it does, which is why I'm right here in the office with you today. Yeah.
So you guys, I wish you all a great first weekend in December. Make it plan strong, make it fun, make it active.
Yeah.
Move, groove, dance, laugh, play.
Make some pancakes.
Yeah. But we'll be thinking about you this weekend. And until next Friday, keep it plant strong. All right. Bye.
Thank y'all.